Welcome back to another exciting episode of A Few Minutes in Voice. I am, as always, your host, Nick, and I wanted to do this episode of the podcast so close to the other one because I thought to myself, if I'm going to say something nice about the Dev Console and how far it's come along, I should probably make a podcast that, focuses on the negative and what needs to be improved. Because, as anything, we're constantly evolving and constantly moving forward, updating and upgrading. So, let's hop right into it. My chief complaint about the developer console is that after you do the validation, after you do the functional run, after you submit it, let's say there's an error, okay? You then get an email saying what's wrong with it. Well, if you go back in the dev console, they just tell you that it fails certification and that they're going to send you an email to your Amazon account. There's no need for that chain of custody. Like, why wouldn't you, instead of sending an email, post that into the developer console? And here's why I think that would be a benefit. Because if you get contracted out by somebody, let's say you work for Company A. Well, Company A sets up their Amazon developer account. You build them a skill. The skill fails. Now you got to annoy whoever made up that account and whoever's email is attached to it for you to be able to see what you did wrong in the skill building. What my recommendation would be is for you to add an email address, like a developer associated email address, that would have that shot to the assigned developer as well, and also provide those little tidbits in the actual developer console under the certification tab. That way they're in there and the person who's contracting you out gets it and you can see it and you can make those corrections. Because I've run into these situations before and it's a pain because you don't want to harass somebody. Hey, send me an email. But you also want to do your job and you want to get it done. So it's very frustrating, to say the least. And the other thing that's kind of frustrating about the developer console is the flash briefing setup. And I don't know if they could do anything about this, but I really don't like how whenever you create a flash briefing, you can only create it for one region. There needs to be something that's a little bit more extensive, sort of like how they allow you now to copy from one locale to another. They need you to allow to create a flash briefing in more than one region so that you can publish to multiple regions. Because whenever you think about it, you do a flash briefing, it's only released in the U.S. skill store unless you determine it otherwise at the creation. So why not develop a way to allow you to be more efficient at flash briefing building and to be able to push it out to the masses, primarily the 5 speaking English regions. So that's my second gripe about the dev console. And then the third one is relatively small and a personal issue of mine, but the coding section on the developer console, it uses the same sort of format as SDK 2.0, and that's good, but there's things that are different. Like if I want to put just an image in, I put the image in the spot, and I make sure it's attached to the card, and then, save, and then whenever that intent comes up, boom, that picture comes up. Great, no problem. Problem with this is you have to access this specially made bucket that's created for you, and you got to format it this way, and you got to make sure the code's lined up. I found it to be just easier to go in and just create a Lambda function on my AWS account and just bounce between 2 tabs on my computer. I think that process needs to be streamlined just a little bit more to allow for to adapt more to the SDK 2.0 and allow people to just jump straight into that coding section instead of opening up a Lambda function. Because I got to be honest with you, that's the future, right? You want to have all that stuff encompassed in one place, and hopefully they'll be able to get there with that. So the last thing I wanted to tell everybody about is an update that came out to the primarily the display devices. But you can now have your Facebook photos rotate through on your background on your display devices. And you go into settings, and I think it's something like permissions or whatnot, but you can actually link up your Facebook photos and have those cycle in the background instead of your Amazon photos. Now, me personally, I haven't tried this. I usually just went ahead and use my Amazon photos because that's a free service that's provided with Amazon Prime, and I'll just back up a few every now and again and then let them cycle through. But it would be really cool to have your Facebook photos and or your Instagram feed, pictures like that, bounce up on your display devices. Now that would be cool, or even multiple sources would be cool. Let's say you wanted your Amazon and your Amazon photos, your iCloud photos, and your Facebook photos. That would be the bee's knees if they were all able to rotate like that. And I know that's crazy coding gone wild, but it's wishful thinking. So that just about wraps it up for this week's episode. I did want to go out and say that Voice Skills Inc. is releasing a new product called an Alexa Skill Accelerator. And it's geared to small businesses, small, medium, and large businesses of any size, in order to get their foot in the door pertaining to voice. And essentially, it's a custom skill, and it allows you to get onto the skill store and give your brand or your company exposure at an affordable rate. Currently, those rates are at $80 a month or $800 for the year. And if you want more information, contact Jody at voiceskillsinc.com. I will leave his email address in the episode description. Well, thank you very much to the community. And if you can, again, go to wherever you get your podcast and leave us a 5-star review. We appreciate it. And if you're on Podbean, please follow us on Podbean. Thank you very much, and have a great night.